Hey everyone, welcome to Advocacy Answered. This is Mike Kondratik. I get this question about what advocacy should cost a fair amount, and I do think it's a trap because it's an incomplete question. I think a more complete question is, what is the cost for the influence that we generate? Right? So I think like anything else, what we pay for advocacy and what we get out of it are two sides to the same coin, and I think both need to be investigated at the same time. Okay, now I'm going to tune my comments today toward organizations who are looking to build advocacy programs over the long term versus those who are looking to launch a one-off issue campaign. Okay, so for those looking to build programs over the long term, how you structure the program will determine how and when you incur costs, right? And I think there are two main ways to structure the program. The first is the issue-focused approach. Now, if you've seen previous Advocacy Answered episodes, you know this isn't my favorite approach, but the thesis is that advocacy is there to kind of fill a constituent void, right? We recruit constituents in key legislative districts, and at the key point in the legislative process, we mobilize those constituents to send emails and make phone calls in support of that issue. Okay, now this process starts with recruitment, right? We're going to have to spend money to grow the database. Now, the most cost-effective ways to do that, typically paid petition sites, paid social media ads, paid display ads also work, though those are typically more expensive to execute. Right now, if you're a membership-focused organization, you skip right over this, right? Because you have a built-in audience, right? So your goal is to generate content, get it through your existing communications channels, and recruit your existing members into your program. Okay, but step one, we need to invest in database growth. Now, step two here in the issue-focused approach is typically where cost is saved, right? This is the engagement phase, all right? But in the engagement phase for the issue-focused approach, we are looking to get out some emails and some social media posts that educate our advocates on the issues and help them understand the stakes, right? But in an issue-focused program, you are looking, again, toward those key points in the legislative process so that you're prepared to mobilize, right? So weeks or months later, when you hit this key point, you're going to ask those advocates to send their emails and make their phone calls. But the challenge with this approach is that we live in an advocacy world where it's relationships that ultimately earn people's attention and motivate them to take action. And that's exactly what we're not investing in this issue-focused approach. Okay, so yes, hopefully some of these advocates, when we ask them, respond with their emails and phone calls, but even if they do, every organization can do the same thing, right? So if everyone can send emails and make phone calls, then those that we send aren't going to have any influence with legislators and staff. Okay, so that's a challenge. And then what's worse is over time, this process costs more because so few advocates that you recruit will remain engaged with your organization. When the next issue comes around, you need to go through the same process again. All right, and because advocates aren't building relationships with legislators, well, you're going to have to kind of purchase those relationships by likely adding to your lobbying team, so it will cost you more in other areas of your public affairs program. Okay, so yes, in an issue-focused approach, we're going to invest in growing the database, we're going to save money on engagement, but it's going to cost us more over time, and most importantly, we don't generate communications that have any influence, okay? And if that's the case, I would submit that whatever we've spent to generate communications that don't have any influence, it's too much. Okay, now compare this issue-focused approach with the connection-focused approach, right? And the thesis here is different. Here, I'm looking for advocates who are willing to build relationships with legislators over the long term that give my organization the opportunity to be successful regardless of the issues on which we choose to engage, right? So my focus here is not an issue per se, it's the relationships. Now, this process starts the same as the issue-focused approach. I need to invest in growing my database. So I'm going to use those same tactics I mentioned before. But that's where the similarities stop. Now, when we get into the engagement phase, For connection-focused approaches, we need to invest more in staff who are prepared to build relationships with the advocates we recruit, right? And this relationship building process has many components to it, right? We need to come up with an advocate-focused content plan. We need to produce that content, get it out through our distribution channels, use our advocacy CRM to monitor our results and make adjustments. And most importantly then, staff can notice which advocates are most engaged, all right? And use the opportunity then to build personal relationships with those advocates. Now, again, for those of you who have seen previous episodes of Advocacy Answered, this is where the golden law kicks in, right? So the more time, effort, and energy staff invest in building relationships with advocates, well, the more time, effort, and energy the advocate is going to be willing to invest in the program, right? So we're going to motivate them to communicate in more time-consuming ways that actually have an impact with legislators, right? So think about doing the face-to-face meetings, sending personal letters, right? Communications that have influence. So yes, it's true, in a connection-focused approach, we'll invest more in this engagement phase. But it's also true that we will save more money over time, right? Because more of the advocates that we recruit will remain engaged with the program, right? Those advocates are very likely going to be willing to tell friends and family about the program, so they'll help build our database for us. And it's also very likely that they're going to be willing to help organize advocates who live near them, right? So we can share some advocacy and organizing tasks with those volunteers. Okay, and because we have advocates who are out there building relationships with legislators, well, we need to purchase fewer of them through our lobbying team, right? So we're going to save money in other areas of our public affairs program. Okay, so let's take a step back and think we need to look at all the different aspects of this cost equation to be able to most effectively answer this question. So yes, we need to think about what it's going to cost to build the database and to engage that database, right? And of course, to produce the content that helps all that engagement happen, right? But then we also need to think critically about whether we're setting ourselves up for cost to increase or decrease over time. And then, of course, most importantly, what do we produce at the end? Do we produce communications that actually influence legislators and staff? And I think on balance, the connection-focused approach generates more influence for the money that is invested. But please let me know what you think. Hit me up on Twitter at AdvocacyAnswer, no ED on that Twitter handle, or please shoot me an email, advocacyanswered@gmail.com. As always, thank you so much for your time and your attention.